their search for God is based on logical fallacy. I must say, it's not rational. Why?
Given that, as you'll see, he doesn't even know what a logical fallacy is, I'd say that this why question is missing the mark just a smidge. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers, BionicDance here. Today we've got a fellow who thinks that the God criticized by atheists and the God in holy text are not the same God. But before we get to that, a little bit of critical business. Vertical video is a crime. When you're recording a bit of digital film, you takes your phone, you turns it like this. Got it? Good.
I'm going to talk about something that is from chapter 2, God hypothesis from the book God Delusion, written by Richard Dawkins, who is the evangelist, who is the promoter and the defender of atheism. I would just read 2 lines, that the God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fictions. Jealous and proud of it, a petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak, a vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser, misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, etc.
The God of the Abrahamic holy books does have a lot of torture and death under his belt. He is not a nice guy. But the truth is, that has nothing to do with whether or not such a God exists, except as far as whether or not those nasty events actually happened. We can describe quite horrible things done by Darth Vader and the Emperor, but that doesn't make them any less fictional. There is no reason to think that the Abrahamic God is real just because there are books about the fellow.
So, it is very easy for a human logic, and it appeals to human logic, that what I'm going to say and what I'm going to explain, that it is based on atheistic, we are going to call it atheistic fallacy. That the God they are looking for, they are not actually looking for God, they are looking for human.
First of all, it's up to us to decide what we're looking for. We decide what we seek. Second, the vast majority of atheists who are at all vocal in their criticism of religion quote holy texts. We're not looking for a human, we're looking for the God described in Scripture.
So, the question is, can a God, the way it is described by the scriptures of all the 3 major religions, of major theistic religions like Judaism, Christianity and Islam, do you really think that he can be jealous? And to be jealous of what? Everything is his, nothing is ours.
Seriously, dude? Exodus 34:14. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Duh. I can't find any text listed in the Quran, but most of the Islamic websites I've encountered make reference to the same biblical quote in Exodus. So when I describe God as being jealous, I'm not the one making that shit up.
And then he talks about control freak. Does God really, is God really a control freak? The question is, no, I don't think so. Why? Because man is blessed with free will.
That's got nothing to do with it. That's not what it means to be a control freak. A control freak will insist on things always being their way, and everyone else be damned, so to speak. Or, in this case, literally, follow God's rules or else. Worship me and no other gods or else. Conduct your sex life the way God tells you or else, etc., etc. Lather, rinse, repeat. Whether we have free will or not, this God seeks to control our lives. Free will only gives us the ability to tell him to fuck off.
And, yeah, vindictive. Is he really vindictive? I don't think so.
He always doesn't think so.
Why not? Because God forgives.
He only forgives if we bow and scrape and beg his forgiveness. What does it mean to be vindictive? According to several dictionaries, it means having or showing a strong or unreasonable desire for revenge. Is God vengeful? Book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 2. God is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. In fact, that entire chapter is nothing but describing how much of a cranky pants this God is, and how he loves kicking backsides in fits of rage. Nice fellow, this God of yours.
The other misogynistic, I think God is not misogynistic at all.
So never mind that whole business of telling wives to obey their husbands, forcing women to cover themselves with giant tents to hide their bodies, Jewish hang-ups about menstrual blood, calling a woman defiled because of it, the Bible saying that women should not teach or have authority over a man, that they should be silent, Muhammad getting married to a girl whose age isn't even in the double digits yet, and that's not even getting into religious control over reproduction. Tell me again how God, who is allegedly responsible for all of this, is not misogynistic. I dare you.
What I'm trying to explain, that there is a logical fallacy, and what it is, that the God they are looking for, are the God, the way their description, the theistic description of God is, they are more like they are describing a human.
That is not a logical fallacy. He might think it's off topic, that it misses the point, but it's not a logical fallacy. He might want to look up that term before he uses it too much anymore. Further, no, we're not looking for a human. As I've pointed out, the claims made by Scripture describe the God we're looking for and haven't found. And his description of God seems more like some ivory tower idealized deity that's not actually found in Scripture. But either God is all nicey nice and Scripture is bullshit, or Scripture is right and this romanticized God is just wishful thinking. Pick one.
So we must be sincere. We must consider him God first, a superior being. I think the word superior is even quite little to describe God.
Superior is an awfully ambiguous term. It says nothing except better than you. Well, better how? Maybe his rage is what's superior, or his capacity for violence, peace through superior firepower. Or it could mean his love and devotion are superior, or all of the above. But to say we're looking for a human simply because we found flaws in your God's character sounds less like a valid argument and more like a way of brushing off our objections. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think. You know, Dewey, we wouldn't have to do this if I had more Patreon patrons. Just saying. If you don't like what I'm saying, there's a good chance you're the reason I'm saying it.